Right, well, last night we got another installment of the NBA's version of the Royal Rumble, otherwise known as Celtics Wizards. Maybe we should have known what was coming. There was that Death Row DC t-shirt that Kelly Oubre Jr. was wearing during warm-ups, or, hey, the NBA's discipline czar, Kiki Vanderway, in the building. Just want to handle what happens personally.
Happen to be in the area.
And boy, was there stuff to handle. 8 technicals, 3 ejections, and what many will say will go down as one of the, let's just call it the most daring flops of all time. Yeah, Bradley Beal, we're talking to you. That's a nice angle, right? That's the best one. Gotta love that. All right, let's just make it clear for the rest of the series, the Wizards officially not allowed to complain about Marcus Smart anymore.
Not yet. He can always run off them.
We do need to get to the physical stuff. Jan Mahimi, Jonas Jerebko, starting things off with a little shove there. Then later in the second corner, Kelly O on Kelly O. Olynyk setting that hard illegal screen. Oubre just going nuts. I mean, it really looked like he was so blinded by rage, he couldn't even see the ref in the middle of all that. And I'd argue Olynyk turned in a little piece of acting himself there after he got shoved. I mean, clearly you can see by the way he braces himself on the fall down. He is falling like that for effect, but honestly, it doesn't really matter because Oubre is the one that shoved him outside the flow of the game. And Oubre is the one who will now face a possible suspension. By the fourth quarter, officials handing out technicals like candy. Terry Rozier, Brandon Jennings also tossed. And look, this stuff happens in the playoffs. In fact, we all kind of like when this stuff happens.
That was a regular foul.
Otherwise, you wouldn't see so many folks sitting up on shows like this one, pining for the toughness and the accountability of 90s basketball, right? I mean, we could show these highlights all day. But the Wizards especially need to reel this in because they are the ones who are still trailing in this series. They are the ones whose bench has been accused of being made of tissue paper. If things get out of hand, if suspensions do start raining down, or even worse, players start getting hurt, Washington is the team with the thinner roster. So yeah, it was good for the Wizards that in a series where Boston has been doing a lot of the pushing, they finally pushed back last night. They just need to make sure they don't push so hard they push themselves out of the playoffs. And guys, I want to get into this Oubre thing because, as I said, the depth is an issue on this team. I mean, does he deserve the suspension?
Well, at first I said no. When I saw it live, I said, if you suspend him for a shove, then what does that mean for a punch? Because right now, if you throw a punch, that's one game.
Right.
So if a shove is a suspension.
Well, if you throw a punch that doesn't connect, right, Tracy?
Yeah. So you should stick with your first initial thought.
But he made contact with the ref, and I think they're going to use that.
But the ref got in the way.
But
that's not the ref's fault.
He didn't attack the ref.
That's not Kelly's fault. It's the ref's fault.
That's what the league is going to try and do. They're going to say, well, you make contact with the ref.
But he wasn't going at the ref, though.
You're preaching to the choir. I'm just saying the league is going to use that as an excuse to enforce a suspension. But I do want to say one thing. I'm glad he finally woke up.
Well,
I'm just saying because
he got hit earlier, too.
He did. And you can see when he got screened, he hit his head on the court, and I think he was just really angry. Which I understand. I mean, look, the Celtics, TJ, when you play the Celtics, right, there's the don't touch another man's nose. That is my favorite moment.
But my favorite part about this clip is look at Kelly Oubre playing with his hair as a fight's about to happen. What world are you in, man?
I'm playing up.
He was sneaking up on him on the low.
When you guys play the Celtics, I know you don't. They are known as a team that tries to get under your skin, correct?
Yeah, they're a physical team. I say they're one of the more physical teams in the Eastern Conference, and you got guys like IT, they're going to talk a lot of trash, and rightfully so. He backs it up every night, and I enjoy that type of banter. But I think that
By the way, can we pause a moment to say that CJ so far has the trash-talking line of the playoffs so far about the calf raises for Draymond Green? Continue, please. Go ahead.
That type of stuff is fun for me. I think if you can back it up, you should be able to say whatever you want within reason. But the Celtics do a good job. They perform well. They back it up. Jay and some of those guys, they talk a little bit of trash, and especially when you're going up against John and Brad, and they're going to hit some shots and look at you and give you a couple of stares, might block your shot, give you a stare. Sure. That's when the confrontation goes back and forth. But I like it as long as it's healthy. I like it.
One thing I'll throw in there, in his defense, like you said, it keeps happening. Yeah. And you look at the ref and say, you need to handle this, and they don't. There's a snapping point. We had Chris Childs on our podcast, and he told us by the time he gave Kobe the two-piece, is because
did you have to say
Kobe kept balling. I'm just saying.
He said the two-piece.
And he told the refs, you better handle her, I'm going to handle her. And the ref kind of just said, look, I got nothing for you. So he said, okay. Came back down, hit him, gave him the biscuit with the side.
Okay, well, that's why I asked you the question, though, about the Celtics, because in some ways this team is known for playing close to the edge. I'm not saying they're dirty, but they play close to the edge within the rules. And they are trying to bait the other team into doing something stupid that might get them suspended. I mean, as we look at the big picture here, T-Mac, who's to blame for all this physical sort of altercation fireworks?
Well,
between these
I
two
don't
teams?
blame anybody. I actually like this style of basketball. I mean, this is very intriguing. I love watching it because you got two teams that are hungry. I like the physicality part of it. You know, you have a team that is down 0-2, and you're going back home, and all the talk has been, this other team's been a lot more physical than us. What we do, we come home in the first game, and we hit first. That's what you want to do. You want to hit first and set the tone right away, and that's what these guys did. Now, don't go overboard with it, but I like the physicality of this style of play.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Scott Brooks is jumping on anyone's leg, but I do think we get a little bit of the revival back.
By the way, why aren't we mad that Brandon Jennings got ejected? What did he do to
I
get
think
ejected?
at that point they were just like,
They're fed up with all
yeah,
the
you get an
shenanigans
ejection
going on,
and you
yeah.
get an ejection. You've been in games like that, right?
There's
Where
just too much at that
The refs
point.
are just trying to control the game at that point. They don't want anybody to get hurt. But I like Brendan always does that. He tries to get under the skin. He's gonna pick you up full court and talk to you a little bit. And Terry's one of my Ohio guys. He's from Ohio. You know, we're not putting up with none of that. So you're gonna talk back. You're gonna fight back, especially when you're getting beat by 25 or 30.
Right.
And then you're a little bit more angry, maybe a little bit more aggressive, and you want to make a statement. But
well, yeah. I do want to single out John Wall because we're making him our Carfax value player today. He played so well. Game highs, 24 points, 8 assists, 3 steals. He also helped spark that 22-0 first quarter run. And he took part in guarding Isaiah Thomas. They shut down Isaiah much more effectively than in the first 2 games. I mean, I think part of it is they just made Isaiah play a little bit more D and, you know, he was a little bit more tired. But what did you guys see? CJ, did they come at Isaiah in a different or better way this time, or did they just actually do it harder?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things because Isaiah is a very, very good player. He's going to get his. And I think a lot of stuff was taking a toll. I think he had over 10 hours of surgery on his mouth. He didn't even warm up at halftime of the game. He didn't come out with the team. So I think there's a lot of other stuff going on, obviously, in his life right now. But he only took like 8 shots.
Yeah.
So he wasn't as aggressive as he normally is. And you got to credit Washington for making it tougher on him, changing the pick and roll coverages up a little bit. But I look to see him assert himself a lot more in the next game.
He said this morning, his quote was, "I will make the adjustments and see where I can pick them apart. It won't happen again."
He's going to go back and watch film with Kobe.
Talk Kobe.
But no, I credit Washington for limited his touches. 8 shots for a guy like that put 53 up on you.
Yeah.
Kudos to those guys for making an adjustment in game 3 and making it tough on him. But not offensively. Defensively, they made him work.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Otto
what I'm
Porter
saying. He
put him down in the
tough
post.
by
Like
the
a
end.
lot of guys went at him on the offensive end. You got to make him work.
CJ, he lost his temporary teeth because those teeth that they've replaced are just temporaries, and then he lost them again before halftime, and then he might play without them.
If you allow a scorer like Isaiah Thomas to just sit in the corner on the defensive end, fourth quarter, he's fresh.
Yeah.
He has his leg.
You got to wear him down.
Wear him down.
There you go. I do want to get